Hello everyone, I'm back again. So today I'm going to be talking about how I plan my trips or my travels while I'm on the road. Now, I mentioned before that sometimes I like to just wing it and book things last minute, and that's really great because then you can be open to changes of plans depending on who you meet and what you hear about. It's very good. But in some cases, like right now for instance, you want to book out maybe like a week or a week and a half in advance. And in that case, there are, multiple different strategies on how to do it, and this is how I specifically do it. So let's get started. So the first step is to decide where you're going, because that's obviously important. How can you plan if you have no idea where you're going? So, for instance, in my case, I'm going to be spending about a week traveling down the west coast of Italy and then making my way to Sicily, which is where my family's from. And I'm going to spend probably about 5 or 6 days there. So I would need to find out where I'm going to stay along the way, and how I'm going to get there, and where I'm going to be sleeping. All important things to know. So the first thing I'm going to do is make an outline in my notepad. You can use whatever app you want. I just use the generic note app on the iPad or the iPhone because of iCloud. It just syncs. That way it doesn't matter which device I edit it on. It's just getting updated no matter what. And I'm going to do a Tarantino and show you what it's going to look like once we're all done before we've even done anything. So as you can see, I have all of my check-in and check-out dates. I have the location for each place that I'm staying at, whether it be a hostel or an Airbnb, and then my transport to the next location with just the bare bones information, so I don't necessarily have to open up my ticket app until I get to the train station itself, or the bus station, or the airport, whatever it might be. So once you've figured out where you want to go, then you have to figure out two things: your transportation, your accommodation. Which one do you do first? I like to figure out my accommodation first, and then work the transportation around that, because I want to make sure that I'm staying in a nice place where I'm going to meet cool people. It's going to be close to like the city center or whatever it is I'm trying to see. It doesn't matter if the train gets there early. If the hostel sucks, it's going to be a nightmare. Now, if you've watched my other video on how to save money and book your hostels, then you'll know that we're using Hostelworld as a review finding service, not necessarily to book. Now, when I was actually planning out my week in Italy, I did book through Hostelworld, because the method that I talked about before, where you would look up reviews for the hostel and then go to their specific website to book with them, didn't work. Because half of these hostels, when you went to their website to book, just linked you right back to Hostelworld again. So sometimes you have to use Hostelworld, and it's not going to be the end of the world. So first, we're going to decide where we're going to go. In my case, it's Genoa. I'm 70% sure I said that right. So we're going to type in Genoa. And we're going from the 26th to the 28th. Confirm dates. And then for one guest, search. And you see, they have the map here and all of your listed ones on the side. Now remember what I said, I'll generally only stay in hostels that are above an 8.5, just because from experience, anything below that, it starts to get kind of gnarly. In this case, I would go with the Victoria House, because it's the only one with above a 9.0 rating that has dorms. The rest of them look like they all have privates only. That's fine, but I've been staying in an Airbnb for 9 days now. Kind of want some social interaction, besides talking to you guys, of course. So yeah, we'll go to Victoria House, go to View Property. Everything looks good: location, cleanliness, staff, facilities. Just about all of those ratings are above a 9. So the first review says near the train station, and then you can walk to Old Town. That's great. That's one of the things I want to see, because I normally don't like lugging around my backpack for, 45 minutes to an hour from the train or bus station to get to the hostel. That just kind of sucks. So we're going to put a pin in Victoria House. We're not going to book it just yet. One thing that we want to make note of is the check-in and check-out time before we do anything else. So this one is check-in from 14 to 22. So that's 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So just keep that up here. That's going to be important later. So now we're going to switch over to one of several public transit booking apps. The two that I've been using the most frequently have been Omio, which is spelled O-M-I-O, and Trainline. That's just the word train and the word line. Okay, so we're in Omio now. So we're going to select the Balano terminal, which is where we are right now. And then we're going to be going to Genoa. Now, there are multiple different train stations. So As you can see here, there's the Piazza Principe, there's Brignole, Sturla, Quarto de Mele. I'm not... I might be Italian, but I do not have the Italian accent. It hasn't rubbed off on me yet. I need to stay here a little longer. Because we don't know exactly where these train stations are, we can't pick one yet because we would potentially end up picking one that's super far away. And knowing my luck, it would be like 2 hours away, and then you'd be screwed. So what we're going to do now, before booking this, we're going to make note of the different train stations, and we're going to look them up in Google Maps in relation to the hostel we want to stay at. So we're going to switch to Google Maps now. I'm going to type in Victoria House Hostel, and then just hit directions. So we're just going to change your location to the first train station on the list, which is the Piazza Principe. So we're going to go back here, Piazza Principe, and if you look at walking time, that's 29 minutes. Now, I like walking when I first get to a new city because you're able to kind of like take in and start getting comfortable in a new location. If you hop on the public transit, it almost like neuters the effect, if that makes sense. A German friend of mine that I met in Cambridge said that you earn your comfort in a city by walking it. So I've been living that way ever since. And before that, I always just walked. Anyway, so we're seeing now that the Piazza Principe is 29 minutes walking from the Victoria House Hostel. That's not bad, but let's see if we can do better. So we're going to go back to Omeo, look at the next one on the list, which is Brignole. I think that's good. I think that's good. So we're going to go here, get rid of Piazza Principe, look up Brignole. Now that's way better because it is 7 minutes walking time. So we could go through the rest of the list, but I won't subject you guys to that tedium because this one's the closest. So that's 7 minutes, so we know that we can book this train. So we're going to go back to Omeo, going to hit the Brignole one, and then we're going on the 26th, which is this Saturday, confirm, and then search. So now it's going to spit out a whole bunch of different options for you. Make sure you know when the check-in time is. This is important because I've stayed in some hostels where the check-in time is, for whatever reason, like 3 to 6 p.m. That sucks. And if you don't know that, you might book a train that gets you there after that, and then you might be out of luck. What we're going to do is sort by departure time because that's more important to me right now because I know I have to check out of the Airbnb tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So I don't want to just be sitting around. So we're just going to pick the first one because it's the second fastest, and you'll see it's $33. So you just go here. And then you can go second class or first class. I don't do first class because that's a waste of money, in my opinion. And you see at the bottom, go to passenger details. Then you go to review journey details. And then you can just buy with Apple Pay. Now, both Omeo and Trainline allow you to buy with Apple Pay, which is super convenient. And then when you go back to the home screen, then you'll see your upcoming tickets at the top, and where it says, enjoy your journey. It's like, oh, thanks, Omeo, appreciate it. Or there's the icon at the bottom that shows your upcoming trips. So if you tap on one of them, then it shows you your entire ticket, and it gives you which trains are on the bottom, and that's pretty important. And it tells you if it's a mobile ticket or not, which is nice because then you can just open your ticket and just, show it to the person. And it would be hilarious if I showed my ticket massively on the iPad like this. They would probably kick me off the train. When you're on the train and the ticket checker comes up, you just pull this up, show it to him, good to go. You're just left alone. So you have that booked. Now you go back to Hostel World and you decide if you're going to book your hostel on Hostel World or if there's the alternative to book directly from the hostel itself on their website. And then you have your accommodation booked, you have your transit booked. Now, the only thing to do is just give yourself a tiny little note. So I have my train from here to Genoa, and then I just have written down which train it is at what time and when it changes over. So to give you an idea, when we're in Omeo and you're looking at your ticket, then you can see here underneath the name where it says Regionale 2563. That's which train it is. So I always make note of that because that's what you're going to be looking at on the train ticker when you're in the station. And then I'll have my check-in, check-out. I will copy paste either the Apple Map or the Google Map locations, and then it's just a quick tap to open it up in my preferred app for finding myself. And then I'll just include the transport to the next place from there. So it's really as simple as that. It's just keeping a few key things in mind, like making sure that you're not picking a train station or a bus stop that's really far away from your hostel or Airbnb, because trust me, it really sucks to have to walk, 45 minutes to an hour to get to your place. Nobody wants to be the really sweaty guy walking into the hostel huffing and puffing. It might be a little more difficult to make friends that way. And then when you're actually booking your tickets, making sure that you're getting the train that gets there when you want to, which oftentimes is going to be within the checkout window of your hostel or Airbnb. So that's my little tutorial on how I book my travels when I'm on the road. Did you find it helpful? Which ways do you do it? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it, because if you have a better way to do it than how I'm doing it, then I would love to try it out. Be sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.